Imagine a quiet monk in a monastery garden, gently plucking the flowers of pea plants, not for beauty, not for food, but for questions deep, persistent questions about life itself. No crowds applauded him, no scientists listened, yet from this silent garden bloomed a revolution that would one day unlock the code of every living thing. His name was Gregor Mendel, and he was about to rewrite the story of inheritance. This is the legend of how a monk with a humble hoe became the father of genetics. The year was 1822, in a small village called Heinzendorf, nestled within the Austrian Empire. A boy named Johann Mendel, later to become Gregor, was born to a family of farmers. His world was green and simple: crops, seasons, harvests. But young Johann was not content to till the earth without asking questions. Why did some plants grow tall while others stayed short, even when they came from the same seeds? Why did traits pass from parent to child in such mysterious patterns? He grew up curious, quiet, reflective. By the time he joined the Augustinian Abbey of St. Thomas in Brno, he had changed his name to Gregor and found more than a religious refuge. He found a place of learning. Mathematics, biology, and philosophy flowed like rivers within the abbey's walls. But outside those stone walls, the world wasn't ready for the ideas he was about to uncover. In the monastery garden, Gregor Mendel found his classroom. And his students? Pea plants. Why peas? Because peas were simple, but not too simple. They had traits that could be clearly observed: tall or short, green or yellow, smooth or wrinkled. And crucially, they could be easily cross-pollinated. Mendel planted, tended, crossbred, and recorded again and again for over 7 years. He didn't just observe, he measured, he counted. He tracked over 28,000 pea plants across generations. This was not mere gardening. This was precision science. But what did he discover? 3 truths, 3 laws that would echo through centuries of biology. Let's begin with the first of Mendel's revelations, the law of segregation. In his crossbreeding experiments, Mendel noticed something strange. When he bred a tall pea plant with a short one, the first generation was always tall. The shortness seemed to vanish. But in the next generation, surprise, some plants were short again. Where had the shortness gone? Had it been erased, only to return like a ghost? No, it had hidden. Mendel deduced that each plant carried 2 units, what we now call alleles, for every trait, one from each parent. These alleles segregated or split during the formation of sex cells, gametes. Each gamete carried only 1 allele. When the offspring formed, it received 1 allele from each parent. If one was dominant, it would mask the other. But that recessive one, it wasn't lost. It was waiting, lurking in silence, ready to reappear. The law of segregation showed that inheritance was not a blur of blended traits. It was a code, a pattern. Traits were passed in distinct packets. Mendel had pulled back the curtain on the mechanics of heredity. But Mendel wasn't done. Next, he examined 2 traits at once, say, color and shape. A yellow, smooth seed crossed with a green, wrinkled one. Would the traits always pair the same way? Yellow with smooth, green with wrinkled? No. Sometimes the offspring were yellow and wrinkled, or green and smooth. From this, Mendel articulated his second law, the law of independent assortment. This law states that different traits, such as seed color and seed shape, are inherited independently of one another. The inheritance of one trait does not affect the inheritance of another. To put it plainly, just because your father has blue eyes and curly hair doesn't mean those traits will come together in you. They are shuffled separately in the great genetic deck of life. This independence, this randomization, allows for the vast variety we see in life. Mendel had not only found the building blocks of inheritance, he had also found how nature shuffles the deck with each new life. Finally, Mendel introduced the law of dominance. Remember how some traits seem to vanish in the first generation and reappear later? Mendel deduced that when two different alleles are present in an organism, one will dominate the other. This is why a tall plant crossed with a short one can produce only tall offspring, if tall is dominant. Dominance wasn't just about strength, it was about visibility. A dominant allele masks the expression of a recessive one, but that recessive allele still hides in the background, waiting for its chance to shine when paired with another just like it. This third law completed the trilogy. Traits are carried in pairs, segregation, sorted randomly, independent assortment, and may overpower or hide one another, dominance. When Mendel published his findings in 1866, the world wasn't listening. His paper, Experiments on Plant Hybridization, was largely ignored. Darwin himself, crafting the theory of evolution just a few years earlier, never integrated Mendel's work. It was like Mendel had discovered the grammar of life's language, but nobody could read it yet. Mendel died in 1884, his genius unsung. But like the recessive traits he studied, his ideas were not gone. They were just waiting. Then came the 20th century. Scientists rediscovered his work around 1900. As microscopes improved and chromosomes were studied, Mendel's particles of inheritance found their place in physical reality. We renamed them genes. We gave them a home, DNA. We watched them dance through meiosis and recombine through sexual reproduction. Gregor Mendel, the humble monk with a garden, had become the founding father of modern genetics. Today, we sequence genomes, we edit genes, we trace ancestry and predict inherited diseases. We unlock traits and manipulate crops. The world of biotech, from CRISPR to cloning, stands on the shoulders of Mendel's peas. His 3 laws are now taught in every biology classroom, but they are more than just lessons. They are a reminder. Profound truths can come from humble places. A garden, a notebook, a monk with curiosity and patience. We often imagine that legends wield swords or scepters, but some legends wield silence and science. Gregor Mendel never sought fame. He sought understanding. He watched the world grow, not in grandeur but in detail. He asked questions not to conquer nature, but to listen to it, and nature, it seems, whispered back. His legacy teaches us that life is not chaos. It's a code, and if you look closely, carefully, patiently, you can see the threads that connect all living things. In every seed, every child, every eye color or inherited smile, a quiet monk from Moravia still speaks. And we, the children of biology, are listening. This is the story of Gregor Mendel, the gardener of genetics, the father of heredity, the legend who heard the language of life before the rest of the world even knew it was speaking. Want more legendary stories of forgotten geniuses and world-changing minds? Hit subscribe and join the Chronicle.